All right. We are live. We've been here, 2 seconds, and Broncoride's already in the bathroom. We thought he'd at least, us middle-aged guys can't go, hey, there he is.
Hey. I told you to wait.
All right. Happy Easter, everybody. We've been here, 2 seconds, and Broncoride's already in the bathroom. All right. Hey, guys, we're getting bad feedback from somebody.
All right, go ahead. That was me.
Was it you? Okay.
Happy
Easter, everybody. We've been here, 2 seconds, and
Nope, somebody else.
Yeah, it was somebody else.
Colin, you got to mute your stream that you're watching.
That better?
Working.
We are good. You can tell we're amateurs, aren't we?
We are.
Hey, guys, Ozarks are in. Harley Day Rider, how are you here? Is that your bride? I think your bride is in the other room, signed under you, talking.
Well, I can also talk through the stream.
Oh, I got you. All right, Boots, PA. All right, we're getting some folks coming in. So happy Easter, everybody. A little bit different for Easter dinner with us, right? So happy Easter to everybody. Hello from Sweden. Wow.
Sweden.
That's pretty cool. Well, hey, you guys want to go ahead and get started? I know people are flocking in and out of these things. Maybe we'll do a quick intro of everybody. And then there were 2 questions that came in, and I'm going to kind of ask everybody as helping us moderate this. And then Broncoride said he's going to be great and take some of the questions down so we can answer. So
I have been regulated to question duty.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks in a row, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will try to answer
get
all your questions up there.
You look like you're struggling to see the screen, so I'm a little concerned.
I am.
But we'll be all right.
Thicker glasses.
Hey, Jackie boy. Hi, guys. So, hey, let's just start introduction. Maybe who you are, where you're at, and your YouTube channel. And maybe we can start with BlackTopDevil and his bride, if you don't mind, because they are our guests this week.
Sure. We are BlackTopDevil channel. I'm Brian. This is Heather. We live in Nebraska, and channel's kind of about motorcycle travel. That's what we try to make it about anyway. And we like having a good time with it.
Sweet. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
How about you, Broncoride?
My name is Colin, and I ride a 17 Street Glide Special, and I live in Southern Maryland. I'm about 60 miles south of Washington, D.C. So, state of Maryland, love it. Great back roads out here. Glad to be a part of this.
Great. And Harley Day Rider, HDR, how about you? For those folks that don't know you, even though I think that's impossible, but one person don't know who you are.
That's because you're talking to the one big guy. That's what you're talking about. But hey, everybody, Harley Day Rider, good old friend HDR. Drive the 2018 Road Glide Ultra, and I am located 20 miles outside of the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the home of, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So just wanted to throw that out there. All right, back to you, Mr. Bodine.
Should I put my Steelers hat on? Is that better?
Probably, yeah. Well, I don't know. You see, you're a Michigan fan now, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So those don't know me, my name is Bodine52, and I am located in the very flat, stormy, I can't ride my motorcycle, Michigan right now. So hopefully some other folks, I know the Blacktop and the Mrs. was able to get out and ride yesterday, I think, or the day before. So check that out. I was very jealous, and they were doing a lot of smiling. That's for sure. So, all right. So I thought we'd go over just maybe 2 questions that kind of came in. Well, really 3. And then kind of answer questions that come in for the folks that are joining us. Looks like we have a pretty good group already. So that's great. So we'll go back to you, BlackTopDevil, for the first one. So what's your favorite ride that you have taken and why?
Probably our most recent one. At least it's documented on YouTube. Last fall, we went to Monument Valley, Moab, Utah, went to Arches National Park, through Colorado, both from east to west, west to east, up into Wyoming, and 7 days? Mm-hmm. And it was an amazing trip. And we had one before that where we went out to Colorado in 2011, but we didn't have cameras at the time, so that one we didn't get a share. But if anybody's interested in watching that Monument Valley trip, I have a playlist, 2,000 Miles in the Sun, on my channel that kind of documents the whole trip. And it is a lot of fun.
I'm very envious because I grew up there.
Nice.
I grew up outside Denver, and I went to school out in Southwest Colorado. Right? Did you go to the $1 Million Highway?
We did. Yep.
Isn't that beautiful? By Telluride, Uray, and Silverton, and Durango. That place is outstanding.
I have not made it to Telluride yet, but we tried. Yeah, we almost went, but yeah, we kind of a little bit off the path. So
it is still a nice ride.
A good thing. Yeah, but maybe next time. Yeah.
That's actually one of my goals, is to get out there and ride. It's gonna, and unfortunately, it's gonna take 3 days to get out there. But once I get out there, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off. But I want to spend a whole week just riding that whole state.
Yeah. You'd like to live back there, wouldn't you?
I am going to live back there. I just got to convince my wife.
Yeah. Are you going single, or are you going with your wife?
I might have to. Have a vacation home out there.
She may be walking in any minute to smack you in the back of the head, right? So
I think she's outside, so she didn't hear that.
And our wives don't watch our streams anyway, except for BlackTopDevil. I mean, they do them a lot together. So how about you, Broncoride? What's your favorite ride and kind of why?
So look at me multitasking. I'm writing a question down for a minute here, Jackie boy. I'll come back in a second. That is impressive. A lot of people, I've said this a couple times, my favorite ride was actually up north. A couple years ago, we went up to the New England area. And I know, Jack, you just did that recently as well. And that's probably one of my most favorite trips. And, even compared to down in the Smoky Mountains, while the Smokies are great, I really enjoyed doing the trip up. We went through, it took me 2 days to get up there. It's like a 700-mile trip from my house to get up. We went to a place called Lincoln, New Hampshire, which is a ski resort. It's probably, I don't know, I'm trying to think, 7 hours from Scranton. So it's 7-8 hours. So I kind of split it up, went to Scranton, and then went up through New York, through Massachusetts, Connecticut. And it was awesome. I mean, we spent 3 days in New Hampshire called the I can never say this right, Kankamungus Highway, I believe it is. Mount Washington, which is the highest peak out there. Beautiful back roads. It's a place called the White Mountains, and in southern Vermont, they're called the Green Mountains, but up north, New Hampshire, Vermont, they're called the Green Mountains, and it's actually beautiful. I mean, it's very underrated. We spent like 3 days there. A couple people branched off, went to Maine for a couple days, or I think a day ride. I didn't do that. We went up north and discovered New Hampshire. And then we crossed over into New York up by Lake Champlain, said hi to our Canadian neighbors, which I think it's like 10 minutes from Canada. We were going to go to Montreal for the day, but there's these things called passports. Only a couple of us had it, so we didn't do that. Crossed over and went to Lake Placid for 3 days, and by the Adirondacks. And that is beautiful. I mean, I'm a sports junkie, so we spent some time doing the Olympic venues and did the ski jump, went and saw the hockey rink where the U.S. won the gold medal in 1980. Spent 3 days there, did a bunch of riding around New York and enjoyed it, then came home. But that's probably one of my most favorite trips. There was about 15 or 20 of us at peak time. And I can't tell you, if you guys haven't rode up there, Vermont, I mean, I think Vermont, I might have these mixed up. I think Vermont's 93, Highway 93, and then New Hampshire is 91. And you're going down these highways, and it's just pure mountains surrounding you. And then there's hardly anybody on the roads. The roads are pristine. And I don't know which area you went to, Jack, last year. You said you went up to the Boston area, correct?
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, by far, that was probably my favorite trip I've done so far.
That's cool. That's cool. How about you, HDR? What's been I think you take a week or two with your bride every year and go. So you've done a bunch of trips. Which one's been your favorite?
I think the favorite trip that we did was when we went to we actually went down south. I know we went last year up to Boston and everything, but I think the trip that we took down south was a 13-day motorcycle ride. We started at Cherokee, North Carolina, which was really nice down there. If you've never been there before, it's a Indian reservation. And I wanted to take Mrs. HDR to see a show down there, like a culture show about the Indians. but we found out that they were not open on the first day we were there. It was like a Sunday. So we just spent an extra night, which was fine because that night we went to the casino. I hit for $140, which if you take motorcycle trips, you'll realize that paid for the gas for the entire trip at that point. So that was perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. So then we went from there. We left there, and then we went down to the Tail of the Dragon. From there, we ended up in Nashville. And then from Nashville, we kept on going out into Memphis, to see Graceland and all that. That was great. And then looking at coming back, I was going to leave that area and go straight up to Sandusky, Ohio and come home. But Mrs. HDR and we're on the road. We never know exactly where you're going to end up. So she looked at the map and she goes, well, look, we're going to be pretty close to St. Louis. We probably should see the Arch. So we ended up going up to see the St. Louis Arch, spend a day in St. Louis. Ended up in a place called Juliet, Illinois. If you've never been there, I recommend that you never go unless you have a semi-machine gun in your saddlebag.
Is there a prison there? Is there a prison?
There is, and when the prisoners get out, apparently they put a residency right there. But I'm not lying. My wife, when Mrs. HDR came out of the gas, we stopped. She wanted to get something to drink, get an idea of where we're going to stay for the night. She came out. She was pure white. She said, "Let's go now." She climbed on the back of the bike, and I said, "Go where, hon?" She goes, "Anywhere but here." And by then, there was like 4 or 5 people in the parking lot looking at us like they were going to mug us. And so we left. We actually got on the highway and just took off. We found a fantastic hotel along the side of the road with a steak restaurant right out front. You know how you like to park and just walk into the restaurant.
Yeah.
We fell in love with Apple Crown Royal because that's all they had, and we both needed a couple double shots. So
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, but yeah, that was a great trip. So
hopefully nobody from the Chamber of Commerce is on the live stream tonight from Joliet.
Well, if they are, I hope you clean up your town. There you go.
I'll tell you what, for me, I think it was kind of hard to pick. I mean, a year ago this March, I went down to Daytona for Bike Week with my old neighbor. I used to live in PA, close to HDR. And we went down there, and I got to say that was a ride only because it was a tough winter in Pennsylvania, and riding with a t-shirt on and jeans and just relaxing and running up the coast was a lot of fun. Bike Week, I had never been to Sturgis, so Bike Week was really cool. We went downtown every night, and I actually started my YouTube channel just before that, and I did a video every night while I was down there. I know the wife wasn't too happy about that, but it really helped me out in growing the channel. But I think the best place was, and that's where I think Colin and of course HDR, we've known each other for a while here. When we did a West Virginia motovlogger meetup, I'm sure a lot of you have seen those videos. Or Jack, I guess it's been about a year ago, right? Just over a year.
Yep.
And it started with HDR and myself and a guy by the name of DBest1A. Bruce, just talking about going somewhere together, and ended up having 30 plus motovloggers there. So that was pretty cool. Even though people are walking around parking lots with their cameras held up. So it was kind of funny, but that was a cool experience. So look forward to doing some more rides here coming up once we all get outside and can ride more. So thanks, guys. So one other question going around, we'll go back to Blacktop. Most embarrassing time on a motorcycle. Got to come clean, man. Got to come clean.
It was either the first time I laid the Ultra over or the last time. It's like the first time was I think I got roofied. It wasn't really my fault. The last time I did it was just last fall, and I was coming home from I ran an errand, and I was coming home, and I pulled over on the side of the highway because I had I've got this that flops around, and I had some hair in my eye, and it was so I just pulled over to the side, and I went to put my foot down, and I got stubby little midget legs, and my foot just kicked out and laid the bike over right there on the side of the highway. Cars are going by. It was pretty embarrassing.
We've all been there. If we haven't, we're going to, right?
The first time was in a parking lot, so that wasn't so bad. It was in a gas station parking lot. So only a few people saw that.
And you get up and get the bike up quick too, right? That didn't happen, right?
No, I mean, I got it up, but it's a struggle.
And I wasn't there.
Yeah, she is.
So.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're hard
Thanks.
to get up by yourself.
You don't have that on video, right?
Unfortunately not. No. But I will say, Glide Arkansas in the chat, he's got a good video on how to lift your bike up if you lay it over. So
He does. Yeah, he's got a couple new videos that he just put up, which are about seats and so some Zero stuff. So they're good. You guys should check them out. So, all right, Broncoride, how about you? What's most embarrassing time on a bike, on your bike?
Well, I'm writing down a question. Doing my job. Very embarrassing. I took my MSF class, and this was back in 2006. And I went about 3 weeks later to the dealership, and I got my first bike, and that was a 2007 Fat Bop, and loved that bike. And I had it probably in possession about 10 minutes. Took it out the dealership, went to the first light, and then I looked to my right. I was going to make a turn, and I leaned over, like learning the class, look where you want to look. And the bike fell right over. I forgot to hit the throttle. Within 100, 150 yards of the dealership, I dropped my bike right in the middle of an intersection. I had a friend with me, and he was laughing his ass off about 10, 20 feet in front of me. And I'm like freaking out. So I had a full face helmet on, and I was, my whole entire helmet was like fogging up. He's like, calm down. Remember your training. And after that, I was smooth sailing. So I got that out of the way. But literally like 10 minutes after I purchased the bike, I dumped it. Nice. It didn't do a lot of damage. It just only scratched the little side of a pipe. But very lucky that could have been a lot worse. So that's definitely my most embarrassing.
Thank God we have crash bars, right?
Yep.
All right, Harley Day Rider, how about you?
I think mine wasn't. It was funny because I was watching through the chat a little bit, and Glide Arkansas, it's kind of the same thing that happened to him. I had Mrs. HDR out. She was a brand new rider. And we discussed all this. Funny thing was we discussed all this before we start riding, where so many people, and her friend did it. When you go to tip a bike or tilt a bike over, the first thing you want to do is put your foot down, but you should never do that. Keep your feet up on the actual floorboards. She put her foot down, the lady did, and the bike fell over. The floorboard hit her ankle and crushed her ankle into the ground. So it just snapped her ankle into two, right? Like three of the bones, whatever's in there. But
ouch.
But we just talked about that. So we're riding, we're coming down a little side street, we're coming up on top of the hill. And as we come up on this hill, I went to put my foot down, and here's a great tip. Look at the ground before you put your foot down. Hey, that's pretty good, huh? Look at the ground before. Anyway, but so I put my foot down. There was no earth, and the bike just kind of like. Pfft. Well, she kept her feet up, and as soon as it was going over, I said, "Go ahead and step off," and she just stepped off the bike without putting her foot underneath that peg. But the funny thing about that story was, this guy pulls up beside us, and I could tell he looked like a football guy, right? Big football head, but he goes, "Hey, buddy, you need some help getting that bike up?" And I'm thinking, dude, it's 900 pounds. Yeah, I could use a hand. He gets out of this truck, and he had to be every bit of a 500-pound guy. He walks over and goes, "Oh, there you go, bud. You can get on now. Have a good day." I was like, holy crap, And I was new. I had no stickers to give him. I would have gave him a sticker and maybe one spam cards or something cool, that we give away. But yeah, that was kind of an embarrassing moment.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, for me, other than, not putting a kickstand down in my driveway I guess twice. Nice. I think the other time that I dropped it was Mrs. Bodine was a new rider. I had a Street Glide special, and we were going out to grab a burger, and she was, I wouldn't say reluctant about riding, but reluctant about riding. And was going through a little small town. Parking was real bad, and right in front of the bar that we were going into, I saw a spot at the last minute, and you know how it is when you brake hard and turn all the way to the right to get in, and the bike just went boom, and there's an outdoor bar there, so there's people sitting outside, and I'm just like, she'll never ride with me again. But fortunately, she did. So yeah, we've all been there. If we haven't, we're gonna, right?
Yeah,
dropping it down somewhere. So one other question, and then I'll let Broncoride give us some questions from folks that have joined us. We appreciate everybody. It looks like a lot of folks are here that we know, and glad you spent an hour or so with us having some cocktails and just having fun. We were texting back and forth, the four of us, about this, and I think it was Broncoride that said something about, since you're only seeing the top of us, did he have to wear pants? So can we just have a quick that you guys all got britches on, please?
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
I'm not standing up.
Just kidding. We have pants on.
I'm good. Broncoride, you all right?
I mean, you saw me a second ago. I mean, I'm not wearing my leather chaps or anything and nothing else. So I'm
All
good.
right. Well, Samantha's not here, so we should be good, right? HDR, you're good?
I'm good. And the funny thing about this, I said, working from home, I told Miss HR, I said, you got to order me another 20 pair of sleep pants. She said, 20 pairs of sleep pants. I said, yeah, that's the new work dress slacks.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely have, something hanging in my office in the house now. So when I get on some conference that I can throw that on real quick. Other than that, it's pretty casual, right? So, all right. So Colin, how about some questions for
Okay, I got about 4 or 5 here. I'm doing my job well. So a couple of them are very similar. I'm going to combine them. What are we all planning for 2020 for rides, or are we doing any group rides that are coming up? Obviously, maybe a little bit down the road.
I'll take that one first. We have Sturgis if it happens, and that's pretty much the only major ride we have planned this week going on. So thankfully, we haven't had to cancel anything because we're pretty spontaneous people, so we don't plan too far ahead anyway. But that's the only one we're planning on going to as of now.
Gotcha. How about you, HDR?
We have 3 total rides planned out. We never know which one to pick. So the first one, we were going to fly out to California and rent a motorcycle and ride it up Route 1 to Washington to visit Sean Smoke and his wife, to meet them and get to say hi. The other one was we were going to go to Route 66 and ride that into California all the way out. And then we talked about, the last one we talked about going to was riding to New Orleans. But now we're not really sure of that with the current affairs anyway, but who knows? I mean, we're planning it on the 3rd week of June. So hopefully that's going to work out. And then I hope that, all of us guys can get together at some point, maybe, and get a ride together.
Yeah. Isn't there a restraining order for Sean Smokes with Mrs. HDR that you'll have to go by yourself?
Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. I'll have him up on the TV and she'll come around and she goes, is that his voice?
Yeah, we all started, at least I started by watching him, and then actually started by watching Jack at Harley Day Rider. I mean, that's when I first started. So how about you, Colin?
The biggest plan was the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And we were talking about doing something in August, but other than that, I don't have any immediate plans. And I know the 3 of us were talking about doing either Pennsylvania, definitely not Michigan, parts, either North Carolina, Pennsylvania, West Virginia again. I know somebody asked a second ago if we're doing another motovlog meetup, and I don't think we have anything planned right now. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, HDR.
Well, I'm trying to get Bob to be the president. And he said no. He said he did totally too much drinking last time that he passed out. We had to carry him into his room, and he's not going to do it again.
You know what's funny about that is, and we didn't do one this year, but setting one of those things up and HDR and D-Best and even Colin help, it's a lot of work to do that. And I'll tell you what, you get to when you set those up that you're about everybody else having a good time and making sure everybody's safe. So it's definitely a hard thing to do. So if you're in the chat and want to volunteer for doing something like that, we'll ride down and be a participant for sure, right? So, yeah, I'm with you. I think that we've talked about Broncoride and HDR and myself going down to the Carolinas. I know there's some folks that watch our channels that have asked us to come down, and I think we're open about that. We're hoping that we can all get out riding together soon, and maybe we work on something for springtime next year, right? I'd love to go to Daytona in the fall. I've been to Bike Week, like I said earlier, but the fall one I think is a little smaller. I don't know if anybody's been down there or not. You can put something in the comments, but looking at doing that one. So
Blacktop, I think you answered this, but you had a couple specific ones asked. Where are you from? I think you typed it in there.
Yeah, we're from Nebraska.
From Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Cornhusker. And then my question to you is, Sturgis, worth it?
Yes. If only to go one time, you have to go. It's just the sheer amount of motorcycles and in the entire Black Hills, it's something to see.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys stay out there? Because I know they're saying that the hotels are tough, expensive, and
everything's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we'll stay at the Buffalo Chip, even though we hate it.
Don't do that.
Don't
do that.
45 minutes of sleep now.
Yeah, it's don't go there if you want to sleep. That's for sure.
It's a
but
party campground, and we're not big partiers.
But most of the time when we go there, it's to go to a concert, and a lot of times the concert we're going is at the Buffalo Chip, so it's like $75 to camp for the night, plus you get the concert, and so it's kind of a no-brainer because then you can drink. You don't have to worry about getting drunk and then trying to ride back to your hotel or whatever.
We've stayed in Spearfish and Deadwood, and we've stayed in all the towns around there.
The farther you get away from Sturgis, the cheaper like lodging gets, whether it be a campground or a hotel. But you know, obviously the farther away you are, the less partying you can do. But we're not big partiers really, so that's cool for us to stay an hour south or whatever.
And we stayed at Devil's Tower one year. We camped there.
Yeah.
That was
there's a
really
KOA
nice.
at Devil's Tower that's pretty nice. It's got a restaurant and stuff there, so it's got everything you need.
That's cool.
Now, Bodine or HDR, have you guys been there or no?
I have not.
We were out to Sturgis, but we went 2 weeks before the rally. We went with a couple, and I messaged BlackTopDevil Day on his. I sent him a comment about they just bought a trike and they weren't used to riding it, so he wanted to make sure the roads was clear because he didn't want to learn, obviously, like you were talking on your video. You know, don't go there to learn how to ride your motorcycle. So he wanted to learn how to ride that. But I did have a question for Mrs. BlackTopDevil. Was best turkey leg vendor?
Oh God, there's one. What's that restaurant right on?
One Eye Jack's.
One Eye Jack's. It's right.
One Eye Jack's.
Jack's.
I'm gonna write that down.
Right on the street. Best turkey legs.
That was a great video.
That is solid. Where can you get info like that other than here, guys? Right? Every Sunday night at 6 o'clock, right? 6 p.m. Eastern. A lot of folks coming in. Motorcycle Mama's in. Ozarks. Mr. McStash, he says he's never dropped his bike, and maybe we'll have him on one of these times, guys. And even though he's from Ohio, we'll still forgive him. So.
But do they let you ride motorcycles in Ohio? Yeah, I think you're allowed in Ohio, but not.
I don't know. I hear they have a football team they're trying to get together, but you know, it's funny that being from Michigan and growing up here. I don't know if you, especially out in Nebraska, Cornhuskers, you have folks that you're always in competition again. And I grew up saying Ohio is a 4-letter word, right? So you shouldn't like them. You shouldn't like the Buckeyes. And I think Mr. McStash and I have bantered back and forth enough to where I wanted to punch him and he wanted to punch me. So, but him and his wife are super good folks, and there's a lot of good roads in Ohio and some Amish stuff, right, too, that we've rode through. So, all right, Bronco, what else you got?
All right, it's a good question, specifically around creating. How much money am I going to need to invest if I want to start vlogging or motovlogging?
$75,000.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'll start with this one if you don't mind. I thought about this today, as a matter of fact, thinking that would be a great video. So, other than the gear, which for me is a Senna and a GoPro, I just made the decision to go ahead and get an iMac to start doing some better editing and make it a little easier. It's actually HDR's fault that I ordered that because he convinced me to do it. So I bought a $30,000 bike on his suggestion, and $2,000 for a computer. So you owe me $32,000 just so everybody here knows. But I think it can be. I don't think it has to be that expensive though. I know HDR, you use a program that's for free, and I think you can get a GoPro, and I think people edit with their phone. So I think you can get into it starting off. It's not too bad, right? I don't know what you think, Bronco.
I mean, I think it's So to your point, it's kind of arbitrary what you want to put into it. I mean, you could do it with your cell phone on vlogging, but once you get to motovlog, you definitely need kind of an action camera. It doesn't even have to be a GoPro. I mean, I'm a photography nut, and kind of like HDR is, so we kind of spend a little bit of money on some equipment. Not a ton. I mean, honestly, the editing program that Bob and I use, or Bodine, is a thing called Power Director, and it's I think before we got on the stream, we talked about the different editing programs that we use, but I think that's a little under $80, $85, and then it upgrades every year for free, but it's like a one-time fee. Other than that, it's your camera, and then whatever your audio setup is. I use a Cena 10C Pro mainly for audio as a backup camera, similar to Bodine, and then I have a couple GoPros. But I like, it's my hobby, so I spend a little bit more and put some more money into it. But kind of like what you said, Bodine, it doesn't have to be a tremendous amount, honestly. Yeah. It really doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And
having a better camera does not mean you're going to be a better channel. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't at all. It's about content.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and I'll turn it over to HDR and Blacktop too. I will tell you, when I first started, and I said this last week, first time I ever rode with HDR, because I stalked them a little bit when I first started.
Stalker.
Yeah, that's all right. I had like 9 subs, so if you're thinking about doing this, do it. It's a lot of fun. We've met some great friends. I would say that Broncoride and HDR are pretty close friends, and you meet new people like Blacktop and a bunch of folks that are in the chat right now. It's totally worth it. So what do you guys use down in Nebraska? What do you guys use for vlogging?
We primarily just do vlogging, not so much motovlogging. We do some motovlogging, but our main camera, which you can kind of see in the back there, is a Canon M50. So that's kind of our main one when we're walking around or just kind of showing scenery and stuff. But then we have 2 GoPros. We have a Hero 7 and a Hero 5 that usually one will go on the front of the bike or something, and she'll hold the other one. And that way, I can get a little ride footage in there too. But when I do motovlog, I primarily use the Hero 7. And then I just put the 5 on my handlebar, which I probably should do the opposite, because the 7's got a little better stabilization on it. But
the 7 is 5 compared to the 8. Like, you don't need to upgrade to an 8, in my opinion. If you have a 7, it's fine.
I agree.
This is all I'll show you guys right here. This is the 3 primary things. So here's your GoPro 7, and then this is the Cena 10C Pro, and it's got the camera right on there as a backup. And then I use this little thing for a camera that aims right back towards me. So if when I'm filming, it comes right back towards me, and that's pretty much it. Those 3 things is my motovlog setup. It's that simple. It's really easy.
Cool. I like the small one. What's that called?
Session.
Yeah.
GoPro Session.
So much easier to mount, right?
Yep. You just hit a little button, and it turns on.
Yeah.
I can see it. Boom. Just like that. It's recording.
How about you, HDR?
So when I first got into this, I bought the camera that I still use. Everybody sees it. The little Drift Ghost HD. Been using that for since 2015 when I started. And other than that, I bought the got the little, matter of fact, it's charging right now, but the GoPro 3 Plus Silver. And what I could tell folks is, look around. I looked on eBay, look on Amazon for reconditioned, rebuilt stuff. You don't need anything brand new. And Colin would hit the nail on the head. And I get so many comments. I mean, and so many emails that video is one thing, right? You can have the greatest video in the world, but if all you hear is and all the wind blowing through it's absolutely garbage. Don't even put it out there, because nobody's going to watch it, right? Audio is just as important as your video. So be careful with the audio. And I told a guy the other day, I said, well, put a dead cat on your microphone. He goes, I don't want to kill my cat. I'm like, no, dude, it's a cover. And he's like, yeah, because it's such a stupid name, right? Dead cat. But
Exactly.
But still, it's very important too. The audio is extremely important when you're motovlogging. Don't get into this because you're going to be a YouTube star and make $1 million. Just ride your motorcycle and don't even bother.
You're not.
Get into this for a couple reasons. One, you want to ride. When I started, I wanted to watch and use it as a training aid for myself when I got home. I wanted to see what I'm doing wrong out there. And two, if you get that 9 subs like Bodine had when we first met, and then I taught him how to use Instagram, and now he's way up there. You have to work it.
You're right, grandfather.
He actually taught me how to use Instagram. But don't do it. Don't do it for subs. Don't do it for publicity. Do it for yourself. It's a hobby. It's fun. And jobs to meet other people.
I think that's the same thing about all 4 of us. If you watch our channels, we're all just kind of us, right? And that's one thing I know that Jackie taught me is be yourself. And those people that don't like it won't watch. Those people that do will, right? So, no, great advice. All right, Bronco, what else you got there?
What bike did we sell that we missed the most?
Blacktop, how about you?
My Kawasaki Mean Streak, but in all fairness, it's the only one I've ever sold. But man, it was a nice bike. It was 1600 cc shaft drive. It was kind of a muscle bike, really, and it was my first like cruiser, I guess. But I do miss it. But I sold it to buy my Ultra, so I don't miss it that much. Because yeah, especially for her, she didn't like the back seat on that. It was not very good for touring, which is what we ended up starting to do was tour. So yeah, I do miss it.
Yeah. How about you, HDR?
Mine was actually a Huffy 10-speed bicycle, and
nice.
What about that was my parents bought that for me when I was a kid. I was like 14. But then I found out there was this other bicycle you can get that had a motor on it. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. So actually I sold it and turned around, went out and bought a mini bike. And the reason I feel bad about it is because, your parents buy you something and you should hang on to it. But then, hey, I mean, they loved it. Once they seen, hey, my son's going to be a motorcycle rider, they were all into it. They're like, but that was it. Other than that, I haven't sold anything I've been upset about selling because, like BlackTopDevil, I mean, you upgrade to the point, where you're getting a better ride.
Don't you just get a bigger garage? Isn't that the idea? You don't sell. I didn't know you sell bikes. Actually, I guess we have to at some point, right?
Well, you don't. I mean, the most of us do.
Yeah.
You're a collector, Elvis.
Yeah, I don't know about that. How about you, Broncoride?
Talked about it earlier. The Fat Bob. I should have kept it. I'm mad. And then they just discontinued the Dynas, a couple years back, and I love that bike. But I had to trade it in for a upgraded touring model, freaking recliner and all that stuff. But I should have kept it. I definitely should have kept it.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And I told the story last week that the first couple times I rode with HDR, I had a Street Glide Special, a 16 in denim black, and I loved that bike. Other than the denim, I wasn't a fan of. But kind of like Blacktop, my wife started riding with me, and not the most comfortable. And if we were going to do some more touring, so that's when I ultimately get my Ultra Limited. I noticed in the chat column somebody asked me about getting a second bike. I know a couple. Yeah. I think Blacktop, you guys have a couple. I got a Road King late fall, and I got to tell you what, I love that bike, and it just serves a different purpose of running around town, and it's nice to be able to have kind of a backup or a second type riding bike. Even though I've decided that my full face helmet on Ultra Limited, I don't look real cool on the Road King with that, so I think I need to move on. So how about you, Blacktop? You have a couple bikes, I think, don't you?
Yeah, we have our main one, I guess, is a 2011 Electric Glide, and that's just what we tour on and stuff. But after let's see, 8 years of just riding that one around town, it's a little heavy for just cruising around town. So last July we bought a Dyna Street Bob, or I bought a Dyna Street Bob. She hates riding on it, so it's
that's a fun bike.
It's so much fun. It's
a fun bike
on it. It scoots along pretty good.
And then we also have the chick magnet.
the chick magnet.
A little.
If you guys want to know how to pick up girls on a motorcycle, go check out one of my latest videos. It's 2 weeks old or something. Yamaha Dino 125cc.
That was one of the funniest videos I've seen in a while. You're right. You got to check that out. That is definitely a good one.
We were
Definitely
really
a
bored
good
that day.
All right, Colin, what else you got there?
All right, this is a good question. At what age did you get into motorcycling, and what influenced you?
How about we start with HDR?
Well, mine went back to that story. Mine was age like 14, and what influenced me is you don't have to pedal anymore.
Well, thanks for that, HDR.
That was easy.
How about you, Colin?
I always liked bikes. I didn't actually get my first one till my mid-30s. I grew up in a family that was kind of anti-motorcycle because my older sister was actually struck by one when she was 5. And so my parents weren't too keen on me getting 2 wheels. And then I went through a 3-wheeler stage for a while when I was in my teens, and that caused a lot of friction because I wanted the 3-wheelers before they banned them. And then I waited like 20 years and kind of went through my midlife crisis, said it's time. So then I started, probably mid-30s I started.
Yeah. Blacktop, how about you?
Sorry, I was distracted. I got going probably 8 or 9 years old, and we had a little mini bike, and that's kind of what got me into riding. And then my cousin was my dad's cousin. He was like the biker. Like when you think of an old school biker, that was him. You know, long hair, drugs, just good. They had a good time. And so just kind of seeing him with his buddies and stuff, I wanted in on that. So that's what eventually, once I could afford it, what led me to Harleys.
That's great. I will tell you, for me, Colin, I rode a motorcycle only because I had a roommate in college that had one, so I rode that. And then I didn't ride a motorcycle for a long time until about 5 years ago, and that's when I started riding again. So glad I did, for sure. So
Cool.
a lot of folks coming in. Hey, folks, just a reminder that check out some of the channels of the folks that are in chat. We appreciate you guys coming on, spending time with us. But I know Home Bees. I mean, there's a lot of good channels, and I've been on a looking at new channel kick lately since we're all looking for something to do nowadays, and it's really cool. There's some really good YouTubers starting out and some good content. So
Yeah, a lot of good people in the chat.
Yeah, I'd encourage you to check it out.
Ms. Blacktop, I know you tried to answer this a little bit, but it asks, what do you like best about riding?
I like that I don't have to do anything. I can just sit back and enjoy the ride and enjoy the view. And yeah, I love it. It's my me time where I can just get lost in my head or think about nothing.
There you go.
Well, Dean, how would you sum up that question? What do you best like
fallen
about riding?
asleep a few times, not gonna lie.
What was that, Colin?
Same question to you. What do you like best about riding? If someone were to ask you that.
I think it's the same thing. It's just it takes you away from anything else that's going on. I think for me, it also creates different senses that I didn't have before, right?
Oh, yeah.
I never paid much attention to necessarily roads when I'm in a cage, or you go by a cow farm and you smell the manure and you're like, oh, that's awful. But when you're on a bike, it's okay for like 2 seconds, right? So I think my senses and just appreciating where we live and all that stuff has been the key for me.
Totally agree. Like just discovering new roads.
Yeah.
Think about it, like if you're in a car, you're not going to go out of your way to get to a destination, but you're on a bike. You're like, yeah, let's go down this one and check it out. And it's especially with like back roads and trips. And
yeah,
I have this motto now where, everyone talks about destination riding. Yeah, you're going to pick a destination, but I'd rather take my time and like discover totally new roads to find on the way out there instead of just going through like a straight path. I'd rather just take my time and add 3 or 4 hours to my trip just so I can learn some new roads out there. It's amazing. And, like you guys said, it keeps you centered. It totally does. After a long day of work, that totally calms me down. Just getting on.
Yeah. Do you ever come home and somebody says, "How was the ride?" Do you ever go, "It was crappy"? I mean, it never really happened.
Never do it again.
Yeah. How about
HDR, you want to try to answer that?
What was that one?
What do you like best about riding? If you were to sum it up.
What do I like best about riding? There's so much. I mean, I think group riding. I was at one of the hog meetings. If you're not a member of a hog chapter, it's the Harley Owners Group. I made a mistake one day of calling it a club and about got knocked out for that one. But anyway, I told him at the club meeting though that sitting around with a group of guys and having a beer and talking motorcycles, I said, this is why I own a Harley. Now, I don't know if Honda guys do that or if Yamaha guys. I can't tell you. I can't attest to that. But I think one of the greatest things for me that I really truly like is when Mrs. HDR is with me, because we can ride. We have the Sennas on and we're talking, and I'll say, "Do you want the stereo on?" She goes, "No," and we'll talk for 300 or 400 miles. And we live together every day of the week. But it's funny, you get on that bike and it's just like you're in your own little atmosphere. It's wonderful.
Yeah, Jack, if I could just add on to that, I would say the same thing. So I rode for a couple of years before I convinced the wife to go on, who started with you shouldn't ride a motorcycle, it's dangerous, to, okay, if you get training, to can I ride, to I always want to go ride now, right? Mm-hmm. I think for us, I mean, our kids are now out on their own. I think it's kind of brought us closer, right? We get to go out and do things together that we probably wouldn't have done if I was riding by myself. So I think it helps.
Totally.
At our age, we spend more time riding, less time trying to make babies. See, that's a good thing.
Well, that factory shut down for me, brother. So.
Yep. Anybody use a half helmet setup was a question. Anybody use, I think HDR, you do. Anybody use a half helmet?
No, mine's a 3/4.
Or 3/4, sorry.
Yeah, this one.
I was close.
That one's a 3/4. And people say you got 2 devices on that helmet. I said, yeah, it keeps me balanced, man. You can't be like leaning this way or leaning this way. So of course I got 2 devices.
Hey HDR, how is it that you keep your mic so good even with that helmet? I noticed on one of your videos last week you had a bandana across, but your audio sounded right on. How are you doing that?
What I do is, as I'm riding, Mrs. HR is at home and she's doubling as my voice like a ventriloquist. She records it.
Well, we know she's the boss, so I get it.
I'm actually bringing a video on this, but believe it or not, guys, all it is on this side over here is where the drift goes. It's a wired microphone. See that? Yeah. So on this side, there's the boom microphone. If you can see real close, see how the cord wraps around there? So that drift microphone is inside this thing. And it's on the inside, so it can never get any wind. It would never get any wind into your audio microphone.
I think I had to let you borrow one of those one time when we were riding, didn't I?
Yeah, my mind blew off. If you ever lose one of your covers for your Sennas, we actually pulled over and Bodine said, "You sound absolutely horrible." And I'm like, "Thanks, buddy." I said, and I just bought the guy a beer. He's like, "Yeah, you sound horrible. Here's a cover for it." And I'm like, so he helped me cover it up. Yeah, put the whole thing on there.
Exactly.
You carry everything in your saddlebag, don't you?
I try to do that. The bike's already 1,000 pounds, right? 900 pounds. So what's another couple 30 pounds, right?
I'm surprised that's never been a question. What tools do you carry on your bike with you when you ride?
How about you, Blacktop?
For tools?
Yeah.
Nothing that I've ever used.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, I carry just like a whole set of wrenches, Allen wrenches. I have one of those little air compressors that I've never used. Tire repair kit. That's like the main thing. Spark plug, socket. That's about it.
Toilet paper.
Yeah.
Toilet paper. Yeah, you gotta have toilet paper.
I'm gonna start storing toilet paper on my bike. I'm gonna be a prepper after all this is done.
That's one thing we've never carried. I never even thought of it.
Never thought of toilet paper. That's a good idea, isn't it?
And I was in the military. We carried rolls of toilet paper everywhere.
Yeah.
You have to out here because it's all cornfields and you never know.
Well, at least you have a good place to go. You just walk out in the cornfield.
Hey, Blacktop, while you're talking, have you named your bikes?
No, not really. Like I call the Ultra Dolores sometimes after what's her butt off of Westworld.
Oh, okay.
But no, not really.
Yet.
It's not enough,
Dolores.
I guess.
HDR, you don't. I know that, right?
We were going to. Mrs. HDR wants to do a live stream because if you watch my one video, I called it Silver Streak, and she said, "Silver, no way." She said, "That's just stupid." She said, "There's no silver on it. It says chrome." She said, "Well, then call it Chrome Streak. That's just dumb." So she wants to do a live stream and have like the viewers kind of name it. But I don't like to name things, I don't know. I don't want it to become too personal to me, I guess, or too attached to it. Does that make sense?
Well, that's because you switch bikes every 6 months. So
Yeah, that's why I never traded any of my kids in, because we gave them all names. And now they just feel like they're a part of the family. You can't trade them in.
Hey, when I named my Ultra Limited, I named it Big Mama, and it took me a long time to get my wife to be okay with that. She's like, "So you're gonna ride with me and say, hey, you're out riding with Big Mama?" And when I got my Road King, I just actually named it Duke, even though everybody wanted Elvis. And Boots and Jeans Riders, who has a great upcoming channel, by the way, they were the ones that gave me the suggestion. So thank you while they're on. So how about you, Broncoride?
Actually, I don't think I've ever brought it up in a video, but I did name my bike. Alexa from like the Amazon?
Yeah.
So like I call it Alexa because every time I go out, I say, "Alexa, start the friggin' engine." See, you hear it? It's talking right now. Alexa, Alexa, shut up.
Does your bike start when you say that?
It does not, and I'm trying to figure it out. But no, I called it Alexa, but I don't think I've ever put it in a video because I'll get out there, Alexa, is my Harley going to break down today? No, which is good. So I mean, but I don't think I've ever mentioned that.
Harley don't break down, man. What are you talking about?
It's not going to break down. It's been a
Hey, Colin, real quick, because I know we still have a couple questions, but just for everybody, start maybe with BlackTopDevil. What do you got going on in your channel coming up, man? I know that you guys have a lot going on, and I know you have merchandise and stuff. What's happening with your channel?
We got a Q&A coming out this week. Just something that, I did a motovlog last week asking some questions, or, had people ask questions. So we're doing that while I do, I have a couple install videos coming out soon. And hopefully it'll get nice enough sooner than later that we can actually start doing some ride videos again.
Make some content, right? Yeah. How about you, Bronco?
I've got a couple vlogs coming up, just like my normal topics, just kind of pick and choose one. I talk about, if you guys ever heard of the Harley Davidson, the Bar and Shield Awards, they do them every year for the dealership. So I'm going to go into detail about that, and it's pretty interesting stuff.
Cool. How about you, HDR?
Just kind of the normal videos coming up. I mean, riding around, talking about stuff. I also have one topic coming out: the easiest way to become a self-made millionaire in 30 days or less. So it's a pretty good video. I think you're gonna like it.
Has it worked?
Well, you watch the video.
I got you.
Yeah.
That liquid courage makes you kind of funny, HDR. I'm loving it, man.
No, I'm just saying, this is me.
You gotta drink more often.
I'm glad you started drinking at 10 a.m. this morning.
No, you said earlier. You said I give you me, and everybody knows it views me. You give me. I mean, I've told people stories about when I flew airplanes. When I dammed up lakes or streams.
Yeah.
People know me. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a real quick question here because I got them. I got them like kind of right here. Is Mrs. BlackTopDevil, is the highway pegs that you put on for the passenger, has that made a big difference for you? My wife wanted to know.
Yes.
So they're worth the money because they're pretty pricey.
I think so. We haven't really gone on any rides yet. Like long.
Okay.
I think we've done one or two day rides. Yeah. I mean, it's not been too crazy. But I absolutely love them.
And for people that don't know what I'm talking about, you just want to mention what that is.
Yeah, it's basically a highway peg for the passenger. So you have your footboard, and then in front of that, a little higher, it's a peg that the passenger can kind of extend their feet a little bit. On my end of things, it does. At first, when I put them on and I just did a quick review on them, I didn't think they were going to get in the way too much. But the more I've moved the bike around back and forth in the garage over the winter doing installs and stuff, they do hit the back of my knees a little bit when I'm going back and forth.
Do they fold up?
They do fold up, yeah. And
Yeah.
you can kind of manipulate them. So like if I'm pushing it backwards, I just put them at a 45-degree angle, and it makes it easier.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that.
I'll flip them all the way up. But they do get in the way a little bit. But that being said, for her comfort, I'm okay sacrificing a little.
Well, that always bothers me on long rides. I'm sure it did you too. Is I'm sitting up front, right? I got my feet up on the bars. I can put them up over my head, and your spouse is sitting in the back with their knees like just cramped up. So
Yeah.
I always felt bad about that. So
Yeah.
I was gonna see if I could find a picture. I don't know if you can see that.
Really?
No.
Yeah, we can kind of see it. You guys got a video.
yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's in focus now.
So they just kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, your install video was great.
Yeah.
So
Well, hey, for at least my channel, you know, I'm have a couple videos still to put out. It's been tough being able to, like BlackTopDevil, not being able to really ride much to make a lot of content. Hoping to do a seat video here and maybe how to get rid of a stupid heel toe shifter, and that's a whole different conversation. But if you have a heel toe shifter, something's wrong with you, because
greatest thing in the world.
But I got to get it off of my Road King somehow, so I'm going to be working on that.
I only use toe.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm not a heel guy.
Look, we got to break up, man, dude. We're not going to be able to do. This every Sunday thing has got to stop. If you guys use heel toe shifters, I'm going to have to bow out. Sorry.
That just means both of you guys can't dance, because you can't dance on just your toes unless you're a ballet dancer. Which if you two guys are ballet dancers, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
You know what WMD is, right?
What's that?
WMD.
WM.
White man's disease, no rhythm.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, you're good. Dude.
Hi, Lex. Welcome to joining us. So thanks, guys, for sharing what's going on in your channel, for sure. So
Hey.
what else we got, Bronco?
There's is a good segue to what HDR was talking about a second ago. You know, someone mentioned that they want to start a channel, but they don't have topics. And, you know, what you kind of alluded to a second ago, I mean, I think the best thing if you're going to start a channel is just be yourself. You know, I mean, what you see on most people's videos is what you get. It's not fake. It's just be real. And the topics will come organically or naturally, and just talk. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, that's how we all met, is just through YouTube and getting to know each other. We're very similar. We're very like-minded. The three of us are, and it's pretty cool. So, I mean, basically the question is like, how do we come up with topics? And
You know what, Colin, I'll tell you, for me, because it's a big deal, right, for all of us, I normally, when I go out, will have one or two topics, usually just one. I'll use the notes function on my phone all the time during the week if something comes up. So I'll usually have one when I go out, but if I go on a long ride, I may make 3 videos, 3 or 4 even at times. And it's just like you said, it's being natural. It's something that you see on the road. It's something that your spouse said to you. It's, you know, a video that you saw on BlackTop's channel or your channel, Colin, that just makes you start talking about stuff, at least for me, right? And I think people put too much pressure on themselves on the topic part, personally. I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
I agree 100%. I believe that, and I talked to Bob Nelson. If you don't check out his channel, he's a newer motovlogger, great guy. And I watched his first one because he follows me, and I checked it out. And I was like, well, here's some pointers. Anybody that's new to this, the first thing is talk about yourself first, who you are, where you're from, what you do for a living, unless it's secretive. You know, I know Bodine's with the CIA, but I don't know, something anyway. But so we got to watch him. But I never go out thinking I got a topic. And the worst topic, folks, if you're starting this, don't ever go out there and be like, to make a left turn, you put the left turn signal on, leave the motorcycle to the left, because people aren't watching this to learn how to ride a motorcycle for the biggest part, right? They're learning this to be entertained. So just entertain.
Yeah, Jack, if I could just add to that, you know, I think people do different things. I mean, I think we all 4 of us have a combination of maybe vlogging and install videos or roads that we go on. I think the one thing that's true about your channel is, you know, you use the old, you know, your friend, good old HDR, right? And I think that's attractive to people because you're just going to hear what's on your mind, right? And
there's not usually a lot up here. Mrs. HDR will tell you there's not a lot up here.
Well, I didn't want to say that in a group of 90.
I'm just saying, where everybody knows
from
me.
the internet forever, pal.
All right. Hey, Maurice, if you're going to start a channel, man, do it. Do it. You'll come up with topics. I like how Carolina Rider said he named his bike Charity because he needs extra change to put it into the bike, right? So I like that one.
Yeah, that's the biggest hobby is the motorcycle.
Yeah.
What's your take, Blacktop, on that? On topics.
Oh, man, I struggle. It's weird. I'll get like a block where I have no idea what I'm going to do for a week, and it'll be like my videos come out on Tuesday, so it'll be Sunday, and all of a sudden I'll get 3 or 4 ideas, and then I got to crunch and try to get at least one of them done. So, but the longer you do it, it seems like the easier the ideas come to you.
Yeah.
When I was first starting out, it was hard to. I was just picking stuff, and it was more of a forced deal. And now they just come to me. And like you, Bob, I write them down, and that way, my old brain doesn't forget them right away.
Yeah. Just wait till you got another 5 or 10 years, buddy. Then it's going to even get worse. So it's funny. Things do come to you. I was on I had a video with my bride last week, and we were just riding, and a police car went by, and she goes, "Oh no, the popo are out." I'm like, "The popo? What are you talking about?" Right? And Colin, you'll appreciate this. I said, "That's the Southern Maryland girl coming out in you, right?" So guess what? We'll have a conversation about in a video on Southern slang or something, right? So
We would call it Southern.
Yeah.
Hey, BlackTopDevil had a good topic the other day. I watched him. He got out on the street ball. He just said, "You know what? I am miserable," and that was the greatest video because it was real. The other thing you did, I know I sent him a message, was he talks about what kind of underwear to ride to keep your butt cool on long rides. That was an amazing video. That was the day I think I sent him the first comment, said, "I'm watching you because you're a real person."
All right. I skipped that video.
What's that?
I skipped that video. I didn't want to know.
It was great. It was really good. But that's what you want. You want to be authentic. You got to let people know who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to be G-rated, guys. Remember that.
Yeah.
Most YouTube watchers, a lot of it is young kids are on here and they watch it. So, Now the trick is there with young kids, you start cussing a lot, your views are going to go through the roof because that's what they want to see. Like, oh, motorcycle guy cussing, But yeah, if you want the crowd that we're looking for, the so-called normal people, just keep it G-rated.
You know who Motorcycle Mama says, I shoot 3 videos and their husband, Mr. picks the one less offensive and I run it. I love her videos. Motorcycle Mama is one of my favorites. She gets on and she starts by saying, "I swear a lot if that offends you, you should just go away now." She's awesome. I think that's one thing I'd like to do is, I know we talked about doing these every Sunday and appreciate BlackTopDevil coming in and his bride. I'd really like to get some of the the female riders and motovloggers on too, because
Absolutely.
I think that's real critical and important, right? There's a Geared Raven, Motorcycle Mama. There's a ton of ladies out there that I think that bring a lot to what we do, right?
I see Motorcycle Mama's in the chat. She says, "Yes, I cuss a lot." And Boots and Jeans says, "Underwear. What are underwear?"
No. Great. I can't unsee that now, Boots. Thank you very much.
Now, every time I watch his videos, I'm going to be like, which one are not wearing the underwear? They both ride. Boots and Jeans, husband and wife, both ride. So you'll be like, well.
There are a bunch of good people in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Jason White, and I know his wife ride, Magic City Biker. There's a lot of cool channels on and people that just pop in. So we definitely appreciate it. Is there value to this? People see. We're thinking about doing this every Sunday, at least if we can keep up that pace. Hopefully everybody sees it as an hour away where we can have a few drinks and laughs and just talk, right? So
I know I just called my cable company and cut my cable, and they always ask you, "Well, why, sir? We can lower your bill." I said, until you can put motorcycle video content and motovloggers on like CBS or NBC, I said, I don't want it. So this is my life. This is what I like.
Yeah. There you go. Colin, did we miss anything?
I think we'll end it with the last question. It's a real simple one. It's someone asked, what kind of mics are we using for the stream? Like, what are we using? I mean, I'll start it off because I've got one in my camera. It's called a Blue Yeti. I've had this for a couple of years, and it's a really good mic. What do you guys?
Nice. How about you, Blacktop?
Mine's an old, I think it's a crate. It's going to be loud. Yep, it's an old crate mic from my musician days. Yeah, I don't know if the arm will go up there, but just something I had left over, and I thought, oh, it'll work good for live streams and stuff.
Yeah. Did you like Metallica? I'm trying to figure that out. I think you like Metallica, maybe?
They're okay.
A little bit.
We
Okay.
won't-
All right. I didn't know. How about you, HDR?
Mine is a Rode. It's called a Rode Pod mic. It's on a boom, as you can see. I used to do a lot of training online, and I run this. This is a XLR mic, so I run this through a Focusrite, and that hooks it to the USB on the computer. So
Okay.
that's what I run.
You know what? I don't use any of those. I use a jobber that I use for work. It's kind of like a speakerphone, but I guess I need to get a little more sophisticated and do that. So I really appreciate it. It looks like a lot of the comments column. Jackie Neville, thank you. I know you and your husband are on. Really appreciate you guys joining. Everybody's saying, hey, let's keep this up, right? So
Good.
Glad you guys are enjoying it.
yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. You guys got any parting comments? Bronco?
Nah, just this is our second one, and we, thank you, Blacktop, both of you guys for coming on tonight and joining as a guest host. We do appreciate you guys and coming on and taking the time out of your busy ham eating Easter, and so because I'm eating now. After this, I'm going to go eat because I didn't eat before. A couple of you guys already ate. Next week, this is going to actually be on my channel, and I think the first one was HDR, and then tonight's Bodine, and then I'll be on next week. But thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, when are you going to announce who's joining us? Midweek?
A couple days.
All right.
We'll announce it. Yes.
Little teaser there. How about you, HDR?
I forget what the question was, but no, really, guys, I just wanted to thank BlackTopDevil and Mrs. BlackTopDevil.
Yes.
You guys are a premium channel. I enjoy your adventures. I told Mrs. HDR, and if you ever watch any of our stuff, we usually don't film when we go to the breweries because we get so much flack, and I'm sure you do. You drink beer when you're on that motorcycle? It's like, yeah, we're adults, and we understand how to do that. But I told her, we're just like, and I hope you guys can meet her one day too. I mean, she did bring me a beer up there a little bit ago, but she goes, my hair's not done. So she didn't want to come in the room. So.
And she's a lot nicer than you are, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just put a hat on, right?
Blacktop, how about you guys?
Well, first I want to thank you guys for inviting me. It's been fun, and I just appreciate the invite. And,
Yeah.
We'll make sure we try to hop in the chat from here on out on all these. It's nice to meet you guys. Some like Jack, I didn't follow you, and Colin, we just met, so yeah, the whole thing's just kind of nice to. So we're like, it's like a colleague meeting with colleagues.
Yeah, sure.
It's pretty cool, man. Thanks again.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And hey guys, I just want to thank everybody for popping in, and happy Easter to you, and thanks for taking time, and a lot going on in the world. We'll get through this. Let's stick together, and we'll all be out there riding soon together. So ride safe on and off the bike, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Peace.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.